Welcome to Romance Rex, where book besties explore the world of romance novels and encourage you to expand your TBR. Join us as we dive into the hottest releases and hidden gems of the genre. You can find us on IG and TikTok and Discord at Romance Rex Pod. Just give us a little search, give us a little, Google, and you'll find us. Hey guys, this is Dev. I'm sure you guessed that. Hi! You know what? I feel like it's been so long. Sorry. I just want to say hi to you guys. I feel like I haven't.
This every other week thing.
It feels so much longer. Yeah. But hi. Yeah, this is Dev. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even know where to start telling you what books I'm reading right now. I couldn't begin. Let me tell you something. I'm in 5 books right now, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
God.
But I'm only listening.
Oh.
Well, 6.
I know why. Never mind.
You know why.
Oh.
It's 5 ebooks, but 1 audiobook. Let's talk about the audiobook because I know what that is. I'm only listening to 1. It is Children of Anarchy and Anguish, or Anguish and Anarchy by Tomi Adeyemi, which is the 3rd book in the Orisha series that she has. And it's the 3rd and final book. I'm about 70% in. I'm enjoying it so far.
Oh.
I know, I'm shocked. Let me tell you, the first 2 books were like, oh my gosh. And to be fair, the message in this 3rd book is still good, but it feels like I'm reading a different series because the villain in this book was not really played up in the 1st or 2nd book. I can't even remember them being like focused on. And so it just feels very different. However, with that being said, like the message, what I'm pulling from the book as being part of a diaspora that has been misplaced, it's very heartwarming to see an author tackle that experience with fantasy and magic. That's been nice. Okay. However, I wish, we'll see how it ends. Because
we're getting reviews in the intro. This is like, you're going.
I'm going rogue, guys.
All right.
I just wanted to talk about it. But yeah, and that's all because, like I said, I'm reading too many books at once. And yeah, so that's the one I'm listening to on Libby.
Okay. Well, hi, I'm Jordan. Nice to be here. I will highlight a few that I'm reading because I think Dev's tendencies have rubbed off on me. So I am reading on KU, Kindle Unlimited, Priceless by Devin Sinclair. I am on a Devin Sinclair kick right now. Love her Omegaverse stuff. I started listening to Bewitched by Laura Thalassa.
Read that.
One of my most trusted Bookstagram people recommended it, and the way she talked about it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to love it. Like the way she talks about all my favorites. I'm excited to see where it goes. It's not what I was expecting.
Okay. We'll take it.
Yeah. I'm still early on. I just received today an ARC for A Dark and Secret Magic by Walia Kinney. That should be out October 7th. So I'm excited for that one. And I'm re-listening to From Blood and Ash because I am excited to re-listen to it because I just finished the last book in the prequel series that came out a few months ago.
Oh, okay.
And I loved that series because that series actually tells you the background of all these characters. I can't really get into it. It's not the background of them, but it's like the setup for the world and the gods. So you follow the primals and the gods, and not like From Blood and Ash is like the world and the results of the prequel.
Of them. Okay.
So you learn a lot of big things at the end of that last book. And I read it and I was like, shit, I gotta listen to this again.
Gotta go listen to it.
I have to. So I'm hyped up again. From Blood and Ash, Jennifer L. Armentrout. And that's our intro. Look, it only took 5 minutes.
Love that.
For what we read.
Yes. It really should have taken like 30 seconds each.
Yeah.
Because we only should be reading 1 book.
And there's only 2 of us today because Christina's still in the middle of yet another move.
Yeah.
Love you, Christina. Can't wait to see you on here again.
Yeah.
So let's just get right. Okay, first of all, before we do our quotes, this is a witchy episode. We're doing a witchy episode. We haven't even said that yet. We're almost 6 minutes in. It's all about the witches today. Witch romance.
Love me a good witch.
Witches need love too.
I just want to show you that I'm on theme today.
Oh,
with my
witch please
cup.
I love
I
it.
did. I did want to stay on
I
theme.
have a gin and tonic in a wine glass, so I
I
am
love
not on
that.
brand, but I should have made some tea or something.
I had decaf English breakfast, so I think your drink wins.
I think so too. I'm going to start out, I'm just going to go for it with the
Yeah.
quotes. Mine is from a book we both loved and we will be talking about later. Mine is
Yes.
from Heartless Hunter by Kristen
Stickerelli, yeah.
Ciccarelli.
Hmm.
Ciccarelli. Kristen Ciccarelli. Gideon was her perfect rival, a deadly enemy to outwit. Without him, Rune could only be half of her full potential. It was why, deep down, she wanted him to come for her. She ached for that challenge of him. She needed to finish what lay unfinished between them.
I love that.
Ah, she needed the
Squeal.
challenge. Like, this wasn't even talking about their
No, yeah, this is
spoilers, their
just, yeah.
relationship.
Right.
But this is
Yeah,
when the
Rune
enemies were
was
still
down bad.
enemies. Or the never mind, that's a spoiler. Yeah, it just she knew even then she needed that
Right.
to be her
What she was
best self.
basically saying was that everybody around her was trash and she needed someone to step up to her level to really test her, so that she could really feel alive. And no one was delivering. And so Gideon was going to do that for her.
Well, you
And
would
we
be
love
all
that.
for being chased. The challenge of
Yeah,
being
of
chased,
course.
wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Immediately, yes.
Literally,
Love it.
figuratively,
Yes. Love it all.
sexually.
Jordan!
Oh, I'm sorry. What podcast are you on?
Not you out of my business. As if the business hasn't been discussed in previous episodes. Now y'all gotta go back to find which ones. Let me know if you do. Yeah, moving on to my quote is actually from the Witch Collector series. It's from the first book, The Witch Collector, by Sharissa Weeks. And book 4, I think it's trying to come out. There are plans, there's holdups, but right now all 3 books are available. I'm pretty sure you can listen to them immediately if you have Libby, and I guess if your library supplies it. But also, I think the books are in Kindle Unlimited, so check there as well if you want to read all of the books that are out and you don't want to wait too long. Okay, here's the quote. "What are you scared of?" he asks, his voice so soft. "What is it you fear when it comes to me?" I look up at him, and 1,000 answers chase through my mind. The truth boils down to one thing, though, a truth I can't hold inside anymore. That I will never let myself know what it is to be yours. That I will deny myself this, deny myself you, out of fear. I pat his chest before continuing, because I am so scared of losing anyone else. That was like a very tender
Mm,
moment. I'm not going to tell y'all what happens immediately after
soft.
this,
Oh,
but
so now we
I'm
know
sure you
something
can
happens
guess.
after.
Yeah. But I really love
Is it
that
still
quote
tender?
from. Oh, it's.
Mm. What is this mood tonight?
I cannot confirm nor deny the tenderness of what happens after this scene because, yeah. But yeah, that's one of my recs for today. And so I wanted to share that quote.
Thanks. It was really cute. It was very okay. Well, I'm just gonna get into it because there's one book I'm excited about a lot of these, but there's one in
Okay,
particular that I read recently
let's hear it.
that I still am thinking about. It gave me chills. I listened to this on Audible, not Audible, excuse me. I listened to an audio version of this. I was given a version of it through NetGalley. It's The Last Witch in Edinburgh by Marielle Thompson. And it was labeled as romance, and it is romance. There is a romance. But I was just blown away by this book. And I don't think it was quite what I expected, but it's what I needed. And I saw that someone else wrote that too in their comment. And I'm like, that's exactly how I feel on Goodreads. It's not what they expected, but it's what they needed. In an alternate 1824 Edinburgh, women throughout the city fear that any wrong move may result in accusations of witchcraft, from using their left hand for anything to denying male advancement in an offensive way. Nellie Duncan, she's beautiful, unwed, she keeps to herself, for fear and because she's trying to take care of her younger brother because her mother passed away and her dad is too busy out drinking. So she's just trying to keep to herself, right? She's trying to survive in this world, in this town where everyone is after women for being witches. She keeps to herself until she encounters the Ray Women's Apothecary, where she meets Jean and other women who help her discover true magic. They call that the Kalic, is what they call their magic, Kalic. Sense of self and community. And evil is sweeping the town, and it isn't the first time in its history that this has happened. When Nellie finds herself alone and afraid, she runs from Edinburgh, intending to never return. And for the next 2 centuries, she runs and hides from the Kalic's enemy. He has hunted witches for years through the Patriarchy for their service to the goddess. When she encounters him again, and the stakes are even higher for her personally, will she run or will she stand and fight? So the magic in this comes straight from Scottish folklore. And basically in this, any woman could become a witch. That is not common knowledge, though. People don't just know that. You have to be taught the ways of the Kalic, and everyone has a very unique, it's almost like a gift, not necessarily a magic. But you can learn potions and spells, but everyone has a different kind of, it's almost like a calling. Right? And it does give them long lives. So she was, this story spans 2 centuries.
Oh.
And it is so beautifully written. This is a queer romance.
Ooh, a little sapphic action.
So for having it start in 1824, a lot of her discovering the Kalic is her discovering who she really is. Because being Kalic means being true to yourself. You do not receive your magic or become a witch until you are true to yourself.
Love that.
So whether that's like for her, part of that is admitting to who she's attracted to and who she's interested in and her own confidence and what she's capable of. And it's so moving because the big enemy is the patriarchy in this book. That is how the enemy of the Kalic fights witches, is through patriarchy specifically. They motivate, this enemy is able to instill anger into men, and they use that to bolster, because the enemy knows only females can be Kalic, but it's not common knowledge. So he uses this widespread fear to keep women down, to fear their own bodies, to fear their own voices, and it is, to read it in this way, it was like a religious experience for me. I was listening to it and I just would find myself stopping in the middle of what I was doing and just really be introspective. I would have to pause sometimes and really think about it. I'd be like, whoa, that hit really hard. Or this instance really reminded me of something. So this book is full of emotional storytelling and it's hauntingly beautiful. And it's used to help give women a voice and stand against the patriarchy. And I left this book feeling empowered and reflective because it ends in our present day. So it's still very much enemy that they were trying to face. Yeah. And the romance is very moving. The romance is very introspective. And I would say it's very meaningful and intentional. And it's beautiful.
I love that.
Love this book.
Is it already out? Or
yes, it's already out. The Last Witch in Edinburgh. Go read it.
Love that.
So good.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm getting serious
I have
on
a
you.
question.
Not super
Did
spicy.
you like the narrators?
I love the narrators. Please listen to it.
Okay.
So it's only one because it's one POV. Not just because, but it's one POV and it's Scottish.
I love that.
You
That'll
should definitely listen.
That'll do it. It'll do it for me.
Yeah. Listen to it if you can.
Yeah. Okay. I am going to start with, I guess, something completely opposite on that spectrum. Also about some witches, but very much lighthearted. Very lighthearted, very funny. So no introspection necessary for listening to this book.
Oh, good.
This is Hot Hex Boyfriend by Carly Bloom. And this book actually just came out about a week ago. I think it's live now. I did receive a audio copy from NetGalley. I can't remember if this was like readily available, listen now, or if it was something I like had to request and wait for.
Shout
Either
out to
way,
NetGalley for not sponsoring this episode, but maybe you should.
right? NetGalley, if you're listening, Libby, if you're listening,
We'll do some episodes for you.
babe,
We're here.
we use
Audible.
these services.
Mhm.
KU.
Thank you. Please.
Okay, so Hot Hex Boyfriend is about Delia Merriweather and her family of chaos. Like, and I mean that in the most literal sense. Delia doesn't believe in witches, but the rest of her family most definitely do. And they also believe that they are witches and that they're like a coven who has lost their magic. And because of a silly little birthmark on Delia's tush, her coven family who lacks magic believe that she is like the what they call a blue witch. She is the witch who's going to break the curse on their coven and finally release their suppressed magic. And so every year they have this little ritual to basically call forth Delia's magic as a blue witch, and every year it fails. But Delia is so sweet. Yeah, no, it fails every year.
Because of her booty mark.
It's a booty mark. And yeah, so they do this every year, and like her grandma is like really into it. They run like a little shop where they have crystals and twigs that are supposed to be wands and brooms and teas and herbs. Like it is the most chaotic fun I have listened to in so long. And she has two of her aunts are like they're twins, I think. And so you have like twin aunt witches who are like doing the Oh, and also Delia's mother also does not believe in these witches. So it's Delia and her mom against the rest of the family. But it is, okay, maybe a little introspection. Because one thing I did learn about this story, Delia and her mom don't believe that their family are witches, right? The rest of the family does believe this information and actively acts on it, vocalizes it out to the public that they believe this information, right?
Okay, wait. Can I ask a quick question? Sorry. When you're ready, I have a
Yeah.
question. Why do they think they're witches then? If they've never had magic? Why?
So grandma, because talk to your grandparents. They are your librarians, right? They are the timekeepers in your family.
Oh, yeah.
Grandma was told through her lineage, through her mother and her mother and her mother and whatever, that they are witches. We have not seen. It's been passed down.
Okay,
Grandma hasn't touched a lick of magic. Yeah. But grandma telling her kids, we're witches. So anyway, I love that you have these opposing beliefs, but they love each other so hard. This book is so reminiscent of practical magic. So if you love practical magic, it is, I can taste practical magic on this. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It gave me such a mix of some of my favorite like coming of age teen stories, but they're adults. But yeah, just accepting who you are and just loving your family. Like the love this family shares, even with their opposing beliefs, was so hilarious. The narrator did such a phenomenal job, but there is also a male love interest, right? So here's where the plot actually goes. Again, I just want to reiterate, Delia does not believe her family is a coven of witches who are just waiting for their magic to return.
Coven.
Yeah, Coven Merriweather at that. And oh my gosh, I left out the best part. Y'all, they're in the South. So they talk like this. Delia talks like this, and she says, "Yeah, honey," and they got Southern hospitality. A witch from the South? I ate it up with an accent like that. Okay, but I loved it. I just really loved it. Basically, something happens, and their next door neighbor dies. When the next door neighbor dies, his nephew comes in to kind of deal with the estate planning and whatever, but also to keep an eye on the Blue Witch. Because Delia's family is in fact a coven of witches who have lost their magic. Plot twist. Granny was right. But yeah, so all these things happen. It's just snafu after snafu. Delia's an interior designer. Her mom's a real estate agent. There's like hexes. It's like the entire town knows this information, but gaslight the Merriweather Coven into believing that they aren't witches as well, and ostracizing them, even though the entire town knows that they are.
Wait,
Yeah.
are there other witches around?
The whole town is Witch City.
Shut the fuck up.
But they gaslight
It's like the opposite of
Yes, they gaslight the family and treat them like shit. Because there's a reason why
Yeah, don't tell me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you, but there's a reason. The plot is just, it is so funny.
Okay, you
Honestly, there
sold
were
me.
times
You sold me.
I was cracking up. If you can, I would listen to it. I'm sure
Yeah.
reading it would be the same, but listening to it just really, I was cracking up because I was like, what is happening here? Yeah, and there's a cat who turns into a human, and that's all I'm gonna say. Listen for that because it's given Sebastian, okay? But yeah, there's cauldrons, aka a hot tub.
No. I just can't get over that the whole town knows. But then
But they don't say anything. And
so they're
yeah,
calling themselves witches, but everyone knows that they don't have magic and they're pretending like they do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, you sold
Just
me. I saw this on NetGalley and I'm like, oh, I don't know. This could go either way, but this is
please. Yeah. It's so cozy, but so funny. Spice is very low. I think there's 2 scenes of spice, and it's like nice, but it's not a super spicy book.
It's
But
like a cracked door.
No, it was very open. The door was wide
okay.
open, baby.
Okay.
I'm just saying it wasn't like super explicit spice,
Oh, okay.
Still enjoyable.
I'm watching from the doorway.
For sure.
I'm just not on the bed with them. I'm not in the bed with them, but I'm in the doorway.
Yeah. And maybe you're also on the gym floor. I don't know. Anyway, I just want to mention that whenever they try to make this concoction to turn the powers every year that fails, Delia calls it soup. So her grandma be slaving over this cauldron to make the potion that's supposed to unleash the Merryweather Coven's powers. And Delia calls it, oh yeah, we're just making soup tonight. I just had grandma's soup. She makes it every year on my birthday. Anyway, yeah, I don't know Carly, girl, you sent me into a tizzy with Hot Hex Boyfriend. So thank you for that. Yeah, that was a really good read. Or listen.
Oh, that's so good. I love it. My next, sorry, I'm still laughing because I'm just imagining this like social dynamic of the town and them.
Yeah.
It's this big game of chicken, I feel like.
Yeah.
What's the movie? The Truman Show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
it's almost like The Truman Show.
Because everyone
thinks that, yeah. Okay, cool. All right. The Cursed and the Broken by Chloe Hodge. This one, I'm going to read the description from Goodreads only because of the magic system in the world. I don't want to give too much away, and I want to accurately portray it. Years ago, the Dark Queen was executed by witches. Her cultists hunted down like rats and forced into hiding, their black magic buried and put to rest. All was well in the world, or so we thought. Kitarni, witch and shepherd of her flock, has always been different. There's a darkness in her blood and a destiny beyond the border of her small village. So in this world, there are different villages, and the covens are in different villages, and they don't intermix. Corruption is spreading, and the whispers of cultists stir through the woods once again. Betrothed to the heir of the Wolf Blood clan, she risks not only her life, but her heart. United, they must stand against the cultists or watch the kingdom of Hungary fall. Cursed by death. Death is an actual character in this also. She's visited by death. It's in the very first chapter. And controlled by fate. Fate is another character. Tarni is forced to meet her demons or die by them. This is really interesting. Katarni has a different power than the rest of her coven, and so she's kind of been like an outcast because of that, but she's super close with her mom and her younger sister. She becomes cursed by death at the beginning of this book. Every year on the same night, death stalks the village and comes through, so everyone is boarded up because he can't cross the thresholds. Her sister darts out when she hears their animals being hurt, and she just is soft heart, and so Katarni goes after her, and through that exchange, she's not taken, but she is cursed by him and marked. She finds out that she's betrothed to the Wolfblood clan heir, and so in this village, if the witches have boys, they stay with their father. There are no men in this village. The men have their own, they're in separate villages, so they will either go out and marry and stay with them, or they will liaise with men. But if they have sons, they go and live with their father, and the girls stay in the village. It's really interesting dynamics, and it is based in Hungary, and I don't really know the folklore of Hungary and how closely related this is, but it is fascinating. And it makes sense for the time period and the location. The magic to me is interesting in the world. When I first started this book, I was blowing through it. I loved the tension between her and her betrothed because she doesn't quite trust him because he's from this other village that she's heard things about, but she's never really left her village much, so she doesn't know. There's also a mystery happening because the dark magic that's stalking the woods. And while I went really fast at the beginning of this, for some reason I got distracted by other stuff and I at 80% stopped.
Oh my gosh.
So I went back and had to finish it. So I feel like it got a little bit slower at 75%. But the way it ends, I really need to go to the next one.
Cool.
I really need to move on to the next one. There is a next one and I haven't read it yet. The Fated and the Damned. So I am really interested to see where this goes because she is toying with death. She is bartering with him. Crazy. And fate is involved. It's just... It got messy by the end. It wasn't messy, and then by the end you realized, oh, this was messy the whole time, and we had no idea what was really happening. So I don't know. I love the world. I love the new take on different folklore and that death is involved, but at a bit of a distance. It's really fun.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do like when death is a character in books because it's always so interesting to see what the author's interpretation of death and how they are in the story. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I like the main character. She's strong. She learned to fight from a young age. That's really uncommon in fantasy. I know when the female main character knows how to fight and wield a sword, but I love it. Can't get enough of it. So I definitely recommend, and I think I just got distracted by other stuff.
Yeah.
But it was cute. Spicy was good at the beginning. Their declarations towards each other and was so cute. And I'm scared to see what happens next, but we'll see.
No. Okay. Don't fight me about my next rec because technically she is not a witch, but I'm going to explain myself.
She's a muggle?
She's a muggle. She's very much muggly. Mugglish. This is Do Your Worst by Rosie Danan. Rosie is the author's first name.
Rosie D.
Rosie, I just don't know if it's Danan or Danan. Either way, it's Do Your Worst. The cover's so cute. FMC is having a stare down with the MMC on the cover, and I just love that. But the reason I'm adding this to our witchy Rex, and she's not a witch, is this. Our female main character, Riley Rhodes, is an occult expert. Okay. I know you're losing. I know I'm losing.
No, I'm not. No, I love
me.
cults.
Okay.
I love cults. Yeah,
okay.
No, give me the cult.
She's an occult expert. She's a regular human being. They have internet and regular phones and cars.
Okay. She's me.
She breaks curses.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Okay. So
give me more. Tell me more.
I'm just in my head saying how wild of a wreck this is for the witch.
No, I had one and then I realized it was just fae magic and not witches, and I was like, oh, I gotta take this out. So, but this is good. No, I hear it. There's magic involved. You're good. No,
right. She's breaking curses. So I think it's witchy. Okay. Yeah. So basically, sparks fly when our little occult expert links up with a disgraced archaeologist. This is Goodreads words, not mine. I don't want to call him disgraced, but he is.
Character you're afraid of.
Yeah. So his name is Clark. Clark Edgware has a, I'm not gonna lie to you. When you first read, to be fair, he is a British man. It's giving David Attenborough is his dad. That's the vibe. Anyway, and Riley's from Connecticut or something. She's from the States.
Okay.
This takes place in the Scottish Highlands. Is it Scotland or is it Ireland? I actually can't remember.
Oh, don't offend. You need to.
Oh no, I know. Right. It is okay. Scottish, but because it's a Scottish castle. That's where they go. Basically, Riley is raised by her grandmother, who believed that places can harbor magic and energy, and not necessarily that people have to be magicians or witches or wizards, but that places and things can harbor energy from whatever the dying wish of whoever was there, whatever they put out in the universe, that energy stays. And as a scientist, if you believe that energy never dies, that it exists, then it's kind of that same
Yeah,
application
yeah,
to
yeah,
like
yeah.
things, right?
Yeah.
So when people start having, weird things happening in their house, when a doll shows up in a baby's crib in the middle of the night and the parents don't know what to do, they're
Mhm.
calling Riley, who's trying to get her curse breaking business off the ground. She has business cards
Wait, what is the name of this
and a
again?
website. This is Do Your Worst. So you have this like woman who believes in energy and places holding it, and she's trying to break this curse at this Scottish castle. She gets brought on by a team to help it because like the people in the neighborhood will swear up and down that yes, this castle is cursed. There's no other explanation. Things die, people move out, no one can hold the we need it cleansed. So now they're calling in Riley. When Riley gets to the Scottish Highlands, she walks into a bar, ends up meeting this guy who like so charming, so handsome, amazing. He like pretty much tells her that he's an archaeologist. She doesn't recognize him. He's very famous and currently disgraced because of some actions that happened previously. And basically he's been brought on for archaeology reasons, right? To dig up artifacts and look up stuff and try to understand what else is going on in this castle. So they meet that first night. I think they share a kiss. Like it is very cute. You could tell the vibe is
Okay,
vibing.
sexual
And
tension.
then oh, for sure. They don't see each other
Mm.
again until Riley gets to work. She goes to the castle and I'm here to break some curses. And she hears two people talking, right? And as soon as she walks in, she realizes that the guy she met last night
Yes.
is the archaeologist.
I love
And
it.
he's also talking to I guess the person who's running the whole show about why she's a crack and like, why would you hire
Yes.
someone? So you
Yes.
have, that's his energy. He does not
Love
believe a
that.
thing. He doesn't believe a thing Riley's talking about, right? Okay, here's the plot. Things start happening in the castle that Clark cannot explain. He doesn't know. He's applying science. The way Riley explains things is scientific in nature, even though she is talking about curses and breaking them. But
Mm-hmm.
she approaches things from research, right? She's looking at artifacts. She wants to dial back to when these things started. Who were the characters in play? Why would there even be a curse? What was the situation that someone with their dying breath would say something that would trap this energy and make it so negative for people, right? So it
Mm-hmm.
becomes like trying to solve this or race against the time. He needs this. He needs this project to go well to kind of renew his stature in his career. And she needs this because she's trying to get her curse breaking business off the ground. She needs a win. Our girl Riley needs a win.
Love
This
it.
turns into a steamy, very steamy enemies with benefits. Y'all,
Yes.
I have never read enemies with
Yes.
benefits.
Yes.
Not friends with because I mean, to
Mm.
be fair, when they first met they were friends, right? But then after he's talking shit about our
Yeah.
girl, she's sick of
Offensive.
him. Yeah, she's sick of
Yeah.
him. So they're enemies and also cannot deny the fact that they want to touch each other, and they're just like, you know
Yes.
what, whatever.
I
It's
need to
like,
read this. I need to
yeah,
read
it's like
this.
hate, but whatever, we're gonna do
Mm-hmm.
it. Obviously it does have a happy ever after like towards the end, so you get that classic romance feels, but it is comedic gold. The things that happen to these two people, the way Clark has to change his like mindset around things, and even by the end of the book, I don't think he fully agrees with her career and what she's doing, but he
Oh,
doesn't deny it. He's like, he
interesting.
believes in her, So I thought it was really good. I think the spice out of 5 chili peppers, I would probably maybe a 4, just because I think Clark has a mouth.
Ooh.
Hey, we love him with a mouth. Yeah, so I think I would give the spice maybe a 3.5, 4. But it was
Mm.
really funny. And she may not be a witch, but if you're out here breaking curses, I feel like I'm going to lump you in with all the other witches. You know what I'm saying? So
No, I
contemporary
like it.
romance, very
Magic,
cute. Do your
witchy.
worst, Rosie Danon. Yeah.
Love it. Actually, I'm really interested in that. My next one is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This one's been around for a few years,
Ooh, I've heard this one.
or a
Yeah.
couple
I
years.
never got to read this.
I think it actually won a prize. It won the Goodreads Choice Award. It was a nominee for Best Fantasy in 2022. I didn't see the author. Sangumandana. Yeah.
I can't even help you
Sangu.
because I don't know. Yeah.
So this one is very witchy. Witches in this world cannot be in close proximity to each other for long periods of time, or their magic will kind of clash, and it will build and gather attention, or weird things will happen, or catastrophes will happen. And on top of that, witches who give birth to another witch, so if they have a girl, they always die like within the first year. As a
The witch or the
result,
girl?
the
Oh, the
witch.
okay. Oh no.
So it's a very isolating life. So Mika Moon is our FMC here, our main character. Mika Moon, how cute is it?
I love that name.
This also, if I'm remembering correctly, this takes place in England. She is Indian. Because of all these different layers of isolation, she wasn't raised typically. She was raised by nannies, and it was like a revolving door of nannies at that, because weird things would happen around her as a child with magic. She was taken in by an older witch, which is usually what happens, but she left her basically on the estate with nannies and would only come around sometimes. So Mika Moon has led a very lonely life because of all of this. She does quote unquote magic on her social media for fun. So people just think it's special effects. They can't be known to the regular world, obviously, because witch trials, as we learned in The Last Witch in Edinburgh. Duh. Yeah. But she does these tricks and potions and stuff on her socials, and that's one of her favorite things. And because of all this stuff, she moves regularly every couple of years. So she doesn't really have attachments. She has no real relationship. Every, I think it's few months or a year, the witches of the area or the country will gather for a day to check in with each other. And then that's like all they can do and celebrate each other. But they're not really close because that's really all they get. Through her socials, all of a sudden one day she gets this email from someone that she's never met asking her if she could come teach magic to 3 young witches at this strange place called Nowhere House. Now, she finds this really peculiar because there should never be 3 witches living in a place together. And they're young. They're obviously not, there's not an official register, but there's few enough of them where she would like know. They don't have a quote unquote patron or like witch taking care of. So she's like kind of scared because she feels like she's been found out. I don't know what you're talking about. These are just illusions. Right. And they're like, well, then just come over and talk to us anyways. So she goes out there, which by the way, she gets in her little car and she can use magic to like basically fast travel. And it's so cool. Like this magic is so cool. It's just fun. So the children have been kept secret, even though they shouldn't be kept together. Mika gives in, goes there. There's a housekeeper, 2 men that live together on the estate who help take care of the estate and do groundskeeping and things like that. And then there's Jamie. He's a grumpy librarian. He takes care of the personal library of this estate, and he tutors the girls. And he is basically like their surrogate father. Now, the person who owns this estate is not there when she gets there. And the person who owns this estate is a witch, but she's apparently always traveling and she's doing excavations, and that's like her main thing. So she's never there. But she took in these 3 girls. They were all obviously not sisters, but they are basically adopted sisters, and they've been together for most of their lives. But their magic is getting to a point where they need someone who understands the magic to come in. Now, the people who work there know about magic, not only because their employer is a witch. She didn't necessarily share it with them, but one of the groundskeepers' mother, like his mother was a witch. So he's familiar with this, and he knows the basic rules, but he doesn't understand a lot. Anyways, it takes her a while to find her place there because Jamie does not trust her. Jamie does not want her there. He is, he's the grumpy to her calm sunshine. She's a calm sunshine. Do you know what I mean? Like she's very much just like a calm presence.
I love that.
She's trying to find her place in this house. She sees these girls, and in these girls, she also sees like what she's always missed, being so alone. And so she has moments where she's very reflective of her own childhood and like the hurts she went through. And So she's trying to teach these girls, and the oldest one, of course, is in this phase where she's obstinate. Like, what do you mean? I can float up on the ceiling. You don't tell me what to do. I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to. So it's like magic going haywire, her trying to teach lessons and stay calm, her finding common ground with Jamie, but she still doesn't know what to do because her patron, or person who basically raised her, is the leader. She's like the head witch of this area. And so if anyone finds these girls, they will be separated.
Yeah.
But also, based on their magic, they maybe should. So anyways, as she finds her place in the new home, a few threats arise, and she has to decide what side she's going to take and who she's going to stand with and who she's going to trust. There's definitely a twist in there that I was not expecting.
Oh, we love a twist.
Yeah, I love the tension between Jamie and Mika. Jamie and Mika, I haven't even talked about the romance much because I haven't even talked about this. I love witches. I love magic. I love everything about it so much. But their romance is very slow burn. It's very much about their reluctance to give in, but they have these deep feelings because they get to know each other on a deeper level. Yes, they're both attracted to the other, but it's not this big boiling. They're not uncontrollable adults. They're older adults who know themselves, but they also know what they want, and it's getting it's beautiful the way they get to know each other and the way they have to let their guards down. And I really enjoyed reading that relationship come to light and mature.
Do we get his POV?
No,
we don't.
Oh, maybe you do it near the end.
Okay.
Maybe you do later on. Maybe you do. Sorry, it's been a little while since I've read this. I read this 6 months ago, and that's a long time for. There's a lot of books.
So many books can be read in 6 months. I was just curious.
Oh, I read it in March. Beginning of March. That's a lot of books. That was like 100 books ago. I think maybe you do get his eventually. Yeah, I just love the magic. I love her teaching the girl. I don't know. It's a really moving meaning. It's not as serious as my first one by any means. But it's a Grumpy Sunshine, and it's an adult, a true adult Grumpy Sunshine. Yeah. They both lived lives and are now finding each other.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
And found family. Cute. Lots of found family.
Oh, love that. I know it sounds like the groundskeepers and stuff. Like, they would be.
Oh, yeah. Family. They're so cute. Because they're cute. They always try to push Jamie and Mika together, too. They always try to make these situations. They meddle from the very beginning, which is the best part.
I love meddling.
I'm going to town. Yeah, me too. So we all get there. Well, I'm sorry, I can't go now. Guess it's just you two with the kids. Okay, bye.
Oops, bye. Yeah. No, I love meddling found family.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're great.
So my last rec is actually the book that I spoke about earlier in the episode where I took that quote from, which is The Witch Collector from the Witch Walker series. This is the first book, and they're currently all three, like I said, 3 out of 5 books are out. So I think there's supposed to be 5. 3 of them are out. 1 we know of that's like coming out. We have the title and everything. And the 5th one, I think all we have is the title.
Okay.
Either way, this True Witches.
I like how you have to just say that now.
Yeah, I have to say that because the last one, baby, Riley, not my curse breaker, babe. Yeah, we have magic in this. It is set in a fantasy world as well. So it's fantasy and witches. It follows Raina Bloodgood, who is our female main character. And one thing that I really do love about this, which I don't know if it's a spoiler because it's not, when I look up the descriptions for this book, no one mentions it.
Oh.
But I think it's such an interesting thing to add. So Raina Bloodgood, as you know, witches, not all witches just say incantations in their head or just wave your hands. Like sometimes you have to say things out loud. This specific brand of witch that they are sing their magic. So they sing, and that's how they weave their magic. Raina was born without the ability to speak.
Oh.
And she's a witch. And so her mother teaches her what we would know as BSL or ASL. In this world, it's called SE, which is Signed Exact English. So basically, Raina learns to use her signs in a way that sings the way her witchy counterparts can.
Huh.
And I think that's so magical because she's a witch and she be witching, but she's also silent. She's not the same as her
Yeah.
counterparts. So I think just that like difference in her journey as a witch is share that. That's amazing. Can't imagine all the people who could see themselves in her. Anyway, in this particular story, so it's called The Witch Collector because there is a gentleman who comes around collecting witches, as you would expect. And obviously he has bypassed Raina because Raina cannot speak. So if she can't speak, she can't sing. No one really knows that she's a witch. On top of that, her mother has actually been hiding that she is a witch because they are covered in runes. So their runes and their witches marks clearly will let you know who's a witch. But her mother has been protecting. Her sister gets taken the year before or so. And so Raina is like pumped. She's like, this is my year. He's going to collect me and I'm going to save my sister. And I need to figure out a way. The witch collector's name is Alexis. And he is like a couple hundred years old, first of all.
Oh.
Raina is like 25, I think, 24, 25. But Alexis is a couple hundred years old. He is basically doing this witch collecting on behalf of the Frost King, who I'm not going to lie to y'all. Don't love the Frost King's name. His name is Colden Moeshka.
Cold in. Okay.
I know!
That's all right.
Not my favorite.
It's okay. It's okay. You got to have a little play on words. I could do Colden. It's just like, I feel like the first name and last name don't.
They don't vibe. And everyone calls him Colden Moeshka. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I was just playing with something. I'm like.
But yeah, so basically we go on a hero's journey of trying to get to her sister, finding out the world about witches, and then everything gets turned upside down when, I'm trying to think if this is a spoiler. Sorry, 1 second. It might be a spoiler. There's something that happens, but in this happening, she ends up with Alexis, and now they have to be teamed together, especially because Alexis mentions her sister, and her sister is perfectly fine. Alexis was actually sent to go get Raina this time, and he was specifically looking for her. So she gets to go off on a journey with him. But there is a villain, the Prince of the East, this is what he's labeled as. And basically gods come into play, old gods, dead gods who have had, they're old gods.
A lot going on.
So much going on in this world. And it's a real like quest and journey. We spend 95% of our time in the forest. It's real hero's journey stuff here. Okay. But of course, we have a relationship that starts to spark between Raina and Alexis. And of course, Raina's sister taught Alexis sign, and he can communicate with her when no one else can. So first, let me tell you something. At the beginning, you hate Alexis because you have no context. So you're like, not you collecting witches.
I love those so much.
I hated that man. I was sick of him. And then you start to see who he is. Obviously, he's not the villain of the story, And once that changes, you start to realize just how much he cares for Raina. Mm-hmm. So that was really nice. But also, there's a god's knife. There are gods who are like whispering things. Everyone seems to, as far as I can see, because I'm also almost done with book 2 now, everyone seems to be a pawn in what the gods have in store, and nobody seems to realize it. So I'm waiting for everyone to realize. Because I'm like, are y'all not seeing what I'm seeing? Maybe I can't because y'all are in it. Either way, like I said, I think it's a good story if you want like witches in a fantasy world with typical fantasy things. A big quest. If you're a quest person, you'll love this. Spice. Miss Sharissa don't hold back on the spice.
Oh,
and I think
good.
It ramps up. Like the first book, you have to wait pretty much until the end of the book. The second book, and from what I've heard, the third book, there are some things. So one of my best friends, Glenn, she read the third book and she called me, or she listened to it. One of them, she loves this series, by the way. Hey, Glenn. She said, hey. She called me after she read a certain scene. She was like, I need you to get to book 3 already because she said she almost DNF'd or stopped reading because of the type of spice that was happening.
Oh.
And I said, sign me up because I know that it was probably normal. Well, not normal, but like I knew for me,
Yeah.
When I be reading, I was just like, okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
That's
Can't
what this
wait to get
episode
there.
is really missing is the really hot spice, I'll be honest.
The really hot, yeah. So book 3, if you're into that, apparently there's something in book 3 that Glenn said she almost DNF'd because it was too much spice. So I can't wait to get there. I'll be there soon. I'll update you guys on another episode on what that exact scene was. But yeah, Witch Collector series, I'm into it.
Okay. I've seen it. I've downloaded it on Libby like twice.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get hardly anywhere in it, but for some reason, I don't know if I just wasn't in the mood for it. I just couldn't get it. But
I think you have to be,
hearing the whole thing, I feel like I could
mood.
be invested. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And you do have to pay attention because there is so much happening and there is a good, decent portion of it spent on world building and I just understanding. Yeah. You have to be in the right mindset for sure.
Okay. Good to know. Especially if I know spice is coming. Okay. And I also, I love when I hate the male main character in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Like, that is a true enemies to lovers. Don't give me this rivals bullshit.
Like, you guys don't give me hate this, each other for a reason.
No, I want
a visceral
give me Rook status. I think, speaking about the Ultimate Witch.
I miss them. Right. I miss them. I miss
Brooke and Soren. Give me
I
Soren. Even now, I'm Team Soren, but I'm also still, I don't know if I fully forgive you 100% still.
I don't forgive you.
I don't, we can move forward, but it's going to take me a bit. We'll get there, but.
Yeah. Side-eyeing you. Yeah.
Rook and Soren.
Yeah, y'all already know Rook is our ultimate witch.
Rook is our number one witch. Number one witch, and I think our second witch would be Coven of Bones cities, or Rune is great from Heartless Hunter. We'll talk about Heartless Hunter.
Okay. Oh, I do
want to say Coven of Bones series.
Love that.
So good. You want witch? That's a really great witch one. We've talked about it before, but I just wanted to mention it. Yeah,
good spice.
Those are good. It's amazing spice, especially once that second book hits.
Yeah, it really takes off in the second book. Yeah.
So hot. It's good in the first. The spice in the second one is just like fan myself.
Right.
That mouth.
Right.
But yeah, Rune in The Heartless Hunter. We want to talk about that one. We both loved that one. Is a witch in a time where you can't be a witch again. When it was like a few years ago, in order to save herself, she basically had to turn in her grandma.
Yes.
And basically turn her into the state, to the queens.
Right.
But she has to turn her grandma in by her grandma's command.
Yes.
And in this world, witches they're blood witches, essentially. So they gain their magic through bloodletting. And when they bloodlet, it leaves scars.
Like silver scars.
So it's easy to identify a witch. She doesn't have any scars because she hadn't hit that point yet when this all happened. But her praises are sung by the rulers and by the land. And she is considered herself a witch hunter, essentially, a hero.
An asset to the crown. And
high society knows her. So she gets her magic because she can't be cutting herself. And if you cut someone else that's not willing, that's considered dark magic. It's a different kind of magic that you're going to bring into the world. And also, if you do it and they're willing, it's still going to leave a mark. And you don't want to do that to other people. And so, tricky situation. But her workaround is like, my feminist favorite.
Yes.
She uses her menstrual cycle blood to power her magic. So she only has limited amount for the month.
Right.
And the fresher it is, the stronger the magic.
The stronger the magic, right.
So I'm just like, this is... So if you don't like blood, this is not for you. Because they talk about... I mean, she uses...
significant amount of blood.
Yeah. But... Our male main character is a witch hunter. And this is an enemy.
He despises witches.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he blames witches for a lot of his lot in life. And
he's technically rightfully so. Right, without giving too much away.
Not the whole of witches, but what happened to him, very traumatic.
Very traumatic. And that would change anyone. So
it's listed as young adult. And I don't know if that's because the spice There isn't a ton of spice in this first one, but there's some dark stuff that happens in this and some dark trauma.
Yeah.
When I read this, it did not necessarily read young adult to me.
Same.
It's just, and it's this big, of course, game of who to trust and can I trust him? I feel like I can, but I know I shouldn't. Am I going to listen to my head or my heart? And how far am I going to trust him? And
yeah, especially because Rune, with her, her being in high society is a mask. It is a cover because her real work is the fact that she is a vigilante, and she is trying to basically save witches and get them out of the Republic, get them out of the government. So
she is known as the
cat and mouse
Crimson
game.
Moth.
Yes, she's known as the Crimson Moth, and it's this game of cat and mouse between, you know, talking about the Crimson Moth disparagingly and talking about witches horribly so that people can continue to believe her ruse and like this image that she's selling of this ditzy high society girl who loves to buy dresses. So yeah, it's just really interesting to see her friendships and relationships.
Yeah, because I was going to say her best friend is a male. I mean, because witches discover they have magic the first time that they have their period.
Right.
And he discovered her right after she first bled for the first time. So he knows she's a witch, but he helped her through this. But it's his older brother, Gideon, who
is the witch hunter.
The witch hunter.
Yeah.
So there is this close friendship, like web, right?
Yes.
And so it's so interesting. She has two people that she trusts, essentially, two friends, and it's
heartbreaking. At some points, it's so heartbreaking, but also I will say when the plots be twisting, they will twist. This book has some serious plot twists, so be prepared. And cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And book 2 does not come out until next year.
Yeah, I cannot wait until the next book.
The next book is called Rebel Witch. Yeah, Rebel Witch.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait because it was so good. It went viral. It was viral for a while.
Like right
TikTok
after it came out.
Yeah, right. It was super viral. So you've honestly probably seen it around and maybe you've thought to yourself, oh, I don't know. Do it. Read it. Like it's so very good. So good. Definitely worth it. Especially for supporting our bloodletting witches.
Oh, I just loved that. So feminine metal. It was badass.
And sorry, not to bring up my friend Glenn again, but Glenn is the one who told me to read this because hey Glenn, she loved this book. Right. She loved this book, but Kristen Ciccarelli also has tons of books out, and Glenn went down a rabbit hole of Kristen books, and there are so many. Glenn loves to talk about like the characters and the world building, and just that Kristen books are so good. There's another series she has, The Last Namsara.
There's a lot.
Yeah, without being
too wordy.
Author. Right. They're just like really good, beautiful language, thick, deep,
meaningful
characters. Thick
layers. They have layers. Like
Kristen Ciccarelli is definitely an author you should add to your list because she has more than this Crimson Moth series.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I had to say about that.
And I will give a special nod to a couple that I was debating whether I should do it. But I just want to say I have two special noms that I call my Hallmark vibes. So my Hallmark witches, which there's spice, but I'm like, this is very much like rom-com-esque Hallmark witch. The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. I've seen so many places. I just finally got it on Libby, and I decided to listen to it for this episode. I didn't feature it, but I just think it is summarized with Hallmark vibes perfectly. So if you're looking for that in a witch, that one. Also, A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Howley. It was fun, whimsical, involves demons and witches and adventuring. It's just like Hallmark whimsy.
Love that.
Fun.
Cozy?
I'd say the X-Hex is cozy. A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch maybe is more like the CW, I should say. Not like Hallmark. It's more like CW vibes.
Edgy.
But more I'd say One Tree Hill versus, I guess it's like Vampire Diaries maybe. But more comedy vibes. It's interesting. Okay. It's fun. If that's the kind of vibe you're going for, A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch, Sarah Howley. A controlling mother that she has to
Yeah,
overcome.
of course.
But I love him, Mother. I don't care if he's a demon.
Right.
The demons need us. We're going to go help their rebellion, kind of a thing.
Oh,
So
God.
it's so interesting. I mean, witches run the gambit of there's so
Yeah.
much. I love seeing magic represented in different ways.
Yes. And please make sure y'all read my new favorite witch, Delia, in Hot Hex Boyfriend, please. I love her. She's my
Oh,
new
yeah.
favorite witch. And the Merryweather Coven,
Love it.
aka not Coven.
Let us know if you have any good witch reads, because I actually would love
Yes.
more. I'm realizing that I have quite a bit and I want more as we head into the Halloween season.
Ooh, spooky.
Thanks for listening to us ramble about witchy romance books. If you're looking for more Romance Rex, be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Romance Rex Pod, or hop on over to our Discord. Romance Rex is the name of our server. You can find our favorite book recs from our episodes, as well as behind the scenes content. Again, that's at Romance Rex Pod. So make sure to give us a follow, and we'll be back next week with another episode. Bye, witches.
Bye. Peace out, witches.